Welcome in to this edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Neal McCready fixing my my camera or attempting to. We'll be with you in the live stream here 1 second. But today we're going to talk. Matt Corral wins the Connerly Trophy last night. Got some coaching carousel stuff. We will talk maybe some transfer portal. It's been a crazy 2 days in the transfer portal. So that and much more coming up on the show. A show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Remember, they're giving away some free points right now. So all you got to do is when you go to the pump to fill up, scan the QR code at any of the Exxon locations on the pump in the state of Mississippi, connects you to the Exxon mobile app, and when you do that, you get 1,000 free points. That ends up $10 that you can immediately use in rewards there with the Blue Sky here in Oxford, or again, anywhere across the state of Mississippi. So free points, $10 for doing nothing but scanning a code. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. You're stuck now. I'll go fix it in a second. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. One of those deals I need to get a professional in here and go hook it all up again. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. It's the place to go to have a nice burger, a po' boy, appetizers, great bar selection, beer selection, all of that at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford and also in New Albany.
So again, we'll talk some coaching search stuff, a few things just around the college football landscape right now. Brian Kelly's contract released yesterday, officially announced there at LSU, and again, Matt Corral winning the Connerly last night in Jackson. I would assume Will Rogers finished second. I don't know. I haven't seen him voting or anything, but it was pretty much a shoe-in, especially after Ole Miss won the Egg Bowl. That took any chance of just kind of giving something to the winner there of that game. So Corral adds to his hardware. Wilson Love accompanied him last night. Gave a pretty good speech. Love was good as kind of the introduction guy for Matt there during that. So
do you ever notice that we rebelgrove.com?
Yes.
I'm hoping when I hit this button that you don't freeze again.
A little worried.
I just don't know what the hell it's doing.
Just having a day. I'm moving.
It's okay. Yeah, you're okay. There it goes.
Yeah.
You ever notice that we are the only outlet in Mississippi that doesn't appear to blow the Connerly Trophy like into this great big deal? I don't feel like I minimize it, but like there were people on press row last night that were leaving to get down to listen to the speech to write about the Connerly Trophy, and it's he's going to win it.
He was going to win it, yeah.
He's going pro. What is the news value that is so? What am I missing? And then I hear that the Mississippi State beat almost in an organized fashion were campaigning for Rogers, and I don't understand. And then I think maybe we're wrong. Maybe you and I are the wrong ones. If everybody else is doing something and you and I are not, we're either the unicorn that is right or we're just completely missing the boat, that this is a much bigger story, yet it's not that big of I'm not saying it's not a big story, but
it has no program impact whatsoever. I think that is the valid point to this. Is everything? Well, I mean, there's a message board about it, and frankly, the guy that made the message board post, I understand in some aspects of what he's saying. Lane Kiffin was out recruiting last night. He was in with Jaheim Otis specifically last night.
Mm-hmm.
That was a much more important thing for Lane Kiffin to do last night than accompany Matt Corral to the Connerly Trophy at the Country Club of Jackson last night. It's not even in the same stratosphere of what he should have been doing last night.
Not even close.
Wilson handled it. Matt got his trophy. He got back on the plane, I assume. And
because Wilson can't go recruit.
No, he can't.
He can't go in home. That would be a major violation.
Yeah. So he went.
So they sent a guy. They sent a guy down there to make a speech. Who Matt's close with.
Yeah.
Who can't be out recruiting. Wilson literally cannot go in a home and recruit a kid. That would be like, whoa, bad.
Yeah, that would be a rule. So yeah, I mean it's a neat thing. I don't mind the awards. Like actually at these non-football sports, I actually kind of like the awards. But I mean,
but I'm talking about from a coverage
yeah,
standpoint.
no, I agree.
I kind of looked around last night like, am I missing something?
If I'd had an AP writer send me a story, I would have published it. But that was all that I would have been willing to do. And I've done that in the past. Tell David, hey, when you get done, just shoot it over to me, and I'll do something with it.
Well, the thing that's interesting to me is that, and we get this, and this is going to come across as a criticism of other people. It's the proof of we're not click-based. Is for a lot of those other sites, they have, I guess they have quotas.
So it's a story.
And so, okay, well, I need to write that. My question is, do people actually open those articles and read them?
Wilson went in a recruit's house at the beginning because they didn't have a full coaching staff.
Yeah,
he was once they actually got 10 dudes on staff, he was no longer could do
He's
that.
not considered an on-field. He went as a special person before Lane had a full staff.
That is correct, yes.
It's like Bob Stoops is going on the road right now recruiting for Oklahoma, but as soon as they hire a coach, Bob Stoops will have to get back off the road.
Yeah. There is a little bit of, I mean, and again, this amazes me that anybody thinks this, but there is. I think there are some media members who cover state who are doing this campaign to try to help Will for next year's award. I mean, putting that type of effort into the Connerly Trophy is.
Yeah, it just feels like, couldn't you take that effort and go clean your garage or something? I mean, I don't get it. I truly don't. The advocacy of that beat, and look, in fairness, there's a lot of advocacy on this beat. But I don't know why people feel compelled to be that way.
Will Rogers congratulated Matt Corral on Twitter last night after the event. Congratulations, Matt Corral. Well deserved. Best of luck to you, my guy. Quote tweeting the Sports Talk Mississippi tweet congratulating Matt Corral for winning the Connerly Trophy. Will seemed okay. He was cool last night. He was all right.
The thing about players, right, is they compete. And they know. And, like, if you ask Matt Corral today, do you think you're going to win the Heisman? No.
Yeah.
Do you think you should win the Heisman? Probably not. Everything didn't break my way.
Yeah.
It's hard to win the Heisman. Like, they give the Heisman to one dude.
I tell you, speaking of that, and it startled me a little bit, I'll be honest. You posted, actually at 2 o'clock in the morning 2 days ago, that they're going to invite 4 people to the Heisman Trophy. My gut is that he is not one of them.
That is my gut too. There's more momentum right now out there because what's happened is the offense players are all sort of plateaued. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there that are watching games going, okay, well, the best player is that dude for Alabama.
Will Anderson.
Yeah. And then the other guy that's got momentum is 97 for Michigan.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Who had a phenomenal game.
He did.
And has great stats. And
then obviously Jordan Davis at Georgia. Who's their best player, but he's not going to win, but he could get invited.
He doesn't have the stats, but he could get invited. So I'm looking for a defensive guy to get an invite. Stroud at Ohio State's going to get invited. Bryce Young at Alabama is going to get invited, and I suspect win the trophy. And then I don't know who the fourth guy is.
It feels like it could be Corral or Pickett, but what is interesting about
Kenneth Walker the third.
Yeah. Well, here's what gave me the whoa, this is not a good sign, even though it's not completely representative, is The Athletic does a straw poll every week where they let their, 12, 16, 20 writers for college football do a first, second, and third, just like the normal Heisman voting. And a large percentage of those actually have Heisman votes of those writers. Mm-hmm. And Matt Corral did not receive one single vote, first, second, or third. And I thought, ooh, that's not good. Because, look, the Iowa Center got a vote. Like, it was a really strange list where Desmond Ridder was getting votes. I mean, like, literally anybody you could think of could get a vote, and he did not get one.
Well, let me make this clear, and I've written about this about Matt. I had this conversation with Nick Suss last night, and he and I disagree completely. I don't think there's another player in the country that could have quarterbacked Ole Miss to 10-2 this year. So some of that is, I suppose, not bias, but it's what I saw and it's what I believe. Like, I don't believe Bryce Young could have quarterbacked Ole Miss to 10-2 this year. I don't.
Sure.
I'll never know because Bryce Young's never going to have that opportunity. I don't think. If he does, I'm interested because I want to know how we make this happen. But I don't think Bryce Young can get into a time machine and do like the Coach 30 guy and be the quarterback for like 20 different teams, right? So Matt Corral is always going to be the guy that was this year's quarterback, and so he did what he did. I don't think Pickett could have quarterbacked Ole Miss to 10-2.
No.
I don't think C.J. Stroud could have quarterbacked Ole Miss to 10-2. That's not taking anything away from those three quarterbacks. I like all three of them. They're all really good players. But Matt doesn't have Heisman stats. Mm-hmm. And if you go back through the last, 30 years.
He doesn't have traditional Heisman
Well, that's what
stats.
I mean.
Because he actually is the only player in the country that has done the best job of running and throwing.
Yes.
He's the only player with more than 3,000 and more than 500.
Right. But if you go back through time and look at quarterback stats for quarterbacks who win the Heisman, Matt doesn't have those stats. Now, is that his –
And Ole Miss has that extra loss that, for whatever reason, is a really big deal.
If, let's say, Ole Miss had beaten Auburn that night at Jordan-Hare,
it's a totally different argument.
Probably having a different conversation. But they didn't. Mm-hmm. And Matt wasn't particularly impressive in that game. It wasn't his fault. He was hurt. But they had some opportunities, and they just didn't get it done from a Heisman standpoint. What was interesting, and I've lost track of days with all this medicine coursing through my veins, there was someone from The Athletic put out the first mock draft, mm-hmm. and they had Matt going like 20 to the Washington football team. They had several quarterbacks ahead of him, which interested me. And I don't people get worked up about mock drafts, and I don't understand that. Like, oh my God, he's an idiot. No, he's not. He's just a mock draft. But I do want to see when Matt gets fully healthy and he goes through the combine, and when Matt gets fully healthy and he goes through some of these individual workouts and people get to see the ball come out of his hands, it's going to be a little different deal, I think.
Well, it's all over the place. What it's telling you right now is that nobody really knows, because you could have very reputable mock drafts, and what I mean by that is, standard publications that everybody understands, and he can be 4th in one, and he can be 26th in the other, and it's like, well, hold on. That makes no sense.
But that's kind of this year, right?
Yeah, all the way around.
Yeah, when you look at this year, it's hard to rank people. It's hard to rank teams. Like, how do you really separate? I mean, this weekend will help because Oklahoma State's going to play Baylor. Like I heard yesterday someone go, really, if you think about it, Georgia hasn't played anybody.
Their best win is Clemson.
And Clemson's, Their next best win might be Arkansas? Arkansas's 8-4. Is Arkansas their next best win?
Maybe.
Tennessee? Who they beating?
Now, obviously, straight eye test, you know what you see, but...
Well, I know what I see with their defense.
Oh, right, yeah.
I mean, a part of me wonders, what does their offense look like against Oklahoma State? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but Oklahoma State's defense is a bear. They'll get after your ass.
They're good.
What does their offense look like against Michigan? Who's figuring it out fast, in fairness to them? But Michigan has that loss to Michigan State, on a day when I think most anyone would have lost at Michigan State. They were jacked.
Yeah, that was just one of those days.
And so I don't know. I had someone in my mailbag, and the mailbag's up at rebelgrove.com. It's presented by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. What if Ole Miss were 11-1? Where would they be today? And I was like, gosh, I don't know. If the one is still Alabama, then they're not playing for the championship. Could Ole Miss slip in as the 4? And it was, you would need Alabama
to
lose. You would need Iowa to beat Michigan because Iowa's not getting in.
No.
You need Iowa to beat Michigan. In an ideal world, Cincinnati would lose, but it's hard to imagine that world right now. You probably would want Oklahoma State you probably would want Baylor to beat Oklahoma State because they'd be a 2-loss, but they'd be a champion.
Yeah, no, you don't want that.
It'd be hard to get in, is my point. It'd be really hard to get in.
Well, frankly, and at first I bristled when he wrote it, but Stuart Mandel's right yesterday. It's going to be hard for Notre Dame to get in at 11-1, sitting at 6 right now.
Right, because they're not a champ.
Because even when other teams lose, the history of the college football playoff rankings is they do not really punish these teams that lose on championship weekends that much. It's what tells me still I'm not giving up the ghost that if Alabama loses a close game, they're not in as the damn 4 or the 3 or whatever.
Well, I got to tell you, if Alabama gets in the way that Alabama has looked the last 2 – I don't disagree, but I will finally jump on it's fixed. You wanted them for TV. That's it. It's the only explanation. Look, they could have easily lost to Arkansas. And Arkansas's fine. They're a nice team. I've seen Arkansas in person. I've seen Arkansas on TV a lot. I watch them because my girls go there, and it's a conversation piece. And they're fine. I respect the way they play. They play really hard. They've got a sound defensive scheme. They're coached well. The Jefferson kid got better and better and better as the season went on, and that's a tribute to him and to Kendall Briles. All of that being said, at no point did I ever watch Arkansas this season and go, man, that's a really good team.
Yeah, sure.
Not once. A couple of times I'm like, you know what? That team's got a chance to be good. And a couple of times I watched them, they're pretty good. But there was never a time that I watched Arkansas with those dudes, man, they are just a piece away from kicking people's ass.
No.
Never.
Yeah. And I'll find the stats on that. I'll do that in 1 second while Neal was reading. Let me tell you about community mortgage. We'll come back to this. I'm not done with the topic yet. Community mortgage is located in Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We are also brought to you by our friends at Walk-On Sports Bistro. Got great news. Walk-On's Sports Bistro opening on Monday in lovely Oxford. 1737B University Avenue in Oxford. They're opening on Monday. It's a beautiful restaurant. I haven't been in yet. I anticipate getting a quick little tour at some point this week before everybody opens. It looks great. It's right there in that shopping center next to Social Wine and Whiskey and all that. It's really cool looking. Great parking. It's a convenient spot. Please do us a favor. Do them a favor. Number one, it's great food, great environment, all of that stuff. If you're going in on Monday or next week to hang out, have a meal, watch a game, make sure that you tell them that you appreciate them sponsoring the pregame show, the postgame show. That's people always say, hey, man, how can I tell you guys how much I appreciate it? Go to a sponsor.
Yes.
That's the way.
Tell them.
And tell them with your mouth, like with words. Make sure that you talk to a manager or someone and they hear it. But opening on Monday in Oxford. They're open this weekend already. They're open today throughout the weekend, as a matter of fact, in Ridgeland, 720 Highland Colony Parkway. So if you're in the Jackson area, go check out the people at Walk-Ons. We would certainly appreciate it. Also brought to you by BroThrow, social sports betting network, free to use. Cool, fun way to bet. No third party, no juice. Over time, that saves you money. You can start your own group, make friends, and invite your friends. Payment happens within 24 hours of the conclusion of your bet. You can take the other side of an existing bet, start a new bet, and more. bet.brothrow.com/MPW. Also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove. Get 35% off products on the site. Hats like the one I have on today. They've got Muddy Water Lady Camo apparel and more. So again, muddywatoroutdoors.com. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove. 'Tis the season of giving. Dead Soxy has a couple of deals right now. They have the BOGO that's going on, I think, through today, I think
it was December 1st, yeah.
Yeah, so it's one transaction at a time. Put in a bundle, get a bundle free, get one sock, another sock free. Do it in multiple transactions. You also can I'll just leave it at that. That's the one to go to today. Take advantage of that one. That's the best way in the world to load up on your socks collection and have the best socks that you'll ever put on your feet. We also are brought to you by Game Changer. There's some new information up at rebelgrove.com. If you go to the site, some information about Game Changer. Don't forget, though, just go to GameChanger.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout. You get 20% off your entire order.
Podcast is brought to you by Nick's Tan & Associates. That's nickstanoxford.com, 662-281-1200. I've used them multiple times for real estate needs here in Oxford. Give them a chance as well. The buy side or the sell side with Clay DeWeese, Keith Graham, and their team of associates to help you anywhere in Lafayette County. Again, 662-281-1200. That's nickstanoxford.com.
So what I was saying, though, Chase, was I watched them play Arkansas here at the end. They weren't impressive. Auburn should have won the game. Auburn should have won. Auburn dominated. Auburn dominated the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, not arguing.
And so now they turn around, and if they lose to Georgia, you're going to let them in. If you do that, you're telling me, okay, what in the hell? I mean, who did Alabama beat this year?
Ole Miss is their best win.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's their only really reputable win.
So, what are we doing? To me, Alabama has one path to the playoff, and that's beat Georgia and be the SEC champ. They do that, they're
If Baylor beats Oklahoma State and Alabama plays fairly closely, I believe Alabama stays in the playoff.
Well, then you are going to walk into an unhappy room on Monday when you come in because I'm going to rip the whole thing up.
So here's what I was going to read from Stuart Mandel. And again, first I bristled and I went, there's no way this is stupid. And again, because I agree with Neal. But, all right. Here we go. In college football playoffs, 7-year history, only 6 top 4 ranked teams of the penultimate rankings, that means the one before the last one, did not – a lot of people mess that word up. They do not know what penultimate means. Completely. They think it means last. It doesn't. It means next to last. It's also a really fancy word for something we can just say next to last. But anyway, so did not make the playoff. Number 4, Georgia. Number 4, Georgia to 19 and 18.
Okay.
Number 2, Auburn in 17. Wisconsin in 17. Iowa in 15. That TCU team that beat the crap out of Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl in 14. Okay?
All right.
Here's the point by this, though, is that during those years, of the 5 conference title game losers on the list, 3 dropped just 1 spot, and 1 dropped 2 spots. The other one was Auburn in 17, and that was their 3rd loss, so they fell completely out of everything because they fell to 9-3 or 10-3 or whatever. It's why Notre Dame is in trouble because they don't play, and there's no guarantee they're passing 2 teams just because they lose conference title games. Where Alabama is sitting right now at 3, because they're 3, right? They're 3.
If you say so.
I think they're 3.
I
could be wrong, but I think they're 3.
I've not paid as much attention to this as you do.
Point being, if they play Georgia in a close game, the committee will sit there and go, well, they played by far the number 1 team in the country.
Okay.
Not even close, historic number 1 team in the country.
Yes.
They played them close. Why should we punish them for losing that game when other teams didn't play? And here's what we're going to do. And they're going to move maybe one. The problem they have is they would play Georgia again if they drop into 4. If anything told me that's how the horse trading didn't work out for Alabama, it's because of that. But otherwise, I think they're – look, TCU – and look, I get it was a little more complicated than this, but I just – as a lawyer argument, TCU in 14.
Okay.
They were number 3 in the country going into their final game of the season. Okay?
Okay.
They won 55-0.
Pretty good.
And dropped to 6 in the final rankings.
They were pissed, too.
They walked, yeah. I mean, Ole Miss walked into a sack of hell a little bit.
Remember that game? You could tell that week is like, boy, one of these teams kind of like that.
It was the inverse of 08 when Texas Tech walked into the Cotton Bowl and did this and went, no, Ole Miss is like happy to be here. Like you got a problem.
Yeah, Ole Miss had like its hat on fire.
Yeah.
TCU just looked pissed off. We were watching warm-ups and I was like, this is, woof.
Yeah, they were like locked in.
They were focused.
Yeah. And they dropped from 3.
Ole Miss was hungover.
Yeah, they were.
And it was bad.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, they went from 3 to 6, winning their final game 55-0. I mean, so they just do whatever the hell it is they want to do at the end anyway, is my point.
Is Alabama compelling enough this season, though, to put them back in again? What does the game have to look like? Give me a scenario where
it's got to be
someone like me wants to see Bama.
It's got to be inside 7 points and somebody's driving at the end.
Okay.
It has to be something where you get done, you go, hey, yeah, that was fun. Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Where it's like, okay. But now here's the problem.
But
Georgia is in no matter what. They can lose 89-0 and they're in.
Okay.
Michigan winning in, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think Oklahoma State is pretty close to winning in.
See, I do too. And they passed the eye test.
So then it's Alabama, Cincinnati,
my
Notre
concern
Dame.
is Oklahoma State wins on Saturday and they get screwed. I'd rather see them in a big game than Alabama 2-loss in a big game. I don't care how close it is. You have your shot. Go get it. It's right there. Go get it. Score 1 more point than Georgia, and I got nothing. You're in.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Here's your crown.
You'll be number 2 or number 1.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But if you lose on Saturday, then by God, that's it. You're out.
Yeah, see, Ohio State got the benefit like we're talking about Alabama in 14. That's
because
what happened.
They lost to
Tennessee.
4-loss Texas A&M. This is not elite Texas A&M. I don't care what the ranking said. This is not elite Texas A&M. This is Texas A&M that lost to Arkansas, that lost to Mississippi State at home, that lost at Ole Miss, and lost at LSU. Stop. Full stop. They get so, and they deserve it. They've dominated the sport for a decade and a half. I'm not taking anything away from Alabama.
Sure.
But there are absolutely some spots popping up on the exam right now.
Yeah.
They look old.
Somebody asked, yes, if Ole Miss has this season, once this playoff goes into effect, you're literally just in and waiting on your
You're
opponent.
waiting on seeding.
Yeah, you're in. You'd have no – Ole Miss and Ohio State would be just twiddling their thumbs waiting right now.
Ole Miss would be in either as the 7 or the 8, and in the hosting scenario, you'd be getting Vaught Hemingway ready to host a playoff game.
Yes. Because you got
And
four
it's why
buys,
I'm for
five,
it. It's why
yeah.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
Because we would be a week away or 2 weeks away or whatever from the biggest game in the history of Ole Miss home football.
Yeah, if today's seeds were there and that was the playoff ranking and we've got this 12-team playoff in effect, Ole Miss would be the 8 seed hosting Baylor in a first-round game in a week. And if they win, then they would play Cincinnati.
Yeah. Is that right?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
No, they played with Georgia. Sorry.
They played the
Georgia.
one. They played
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
So you'd have your hands full in Athens.
And so when
next week,
people
but-
say does seeding matter, yeah, Alabama, Georgia would matter because Alabama would be playing for a first-round bye on a thin Alabama team that needs the bye.
Yeah.
Because if Alabama were to lose
They'd
without
fall to 6 or whatever.
they'd fall to
and-
5 or 6, and they're hosting a game against a team that is more rested than you potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely, it would matter. The Big 12 game would be for. Here's what's interesting: like Iowa, where are they in the CFP?
13. They'd have to win to get in.
Iowa's not only playing for a championship; they're playing to get into the tournament. Because if Iowa wins, they would be Big Ten champs, which is what they deserve to be, by God. And they would probably be, what, the 11?
At least. They'd probably bump up a little higher than that just because they'd have the win over Michigan.
Yeah, so you'd be Big Ten champs, and maybe you're the 9. Maybe you're even hosting a game. Or maybe you're the 9 going to Oxford. How big of a game would that be? For the people who are like, oh, this 12-game playoff's going to ruin the sport. The sport's already changing. Look at the transfer portal, for God's sake. Like, everybody's on Lincoln Riley for recruiting his recruits. I'm the only person in America that doesn't think this is that bad of a thing. I get it. It's slimy. College football's slimy. He's a bad guy. Have you hung out with many college football coaches? These are not normal people. This is not the guy that you meet at the Christmas party and walk away going, man, that guy's really nice. No. These are typically the guys that you meet at the Christmas party that you're like, that dude would rob my house and sleep with my wife in 10 seconds. I've never met many college football coaches who I'm like, man, that guy's the nicest guy I've ever met. It's college football. It is kind of slimy. Like in college football right now, there's 2 kinds of cheating. You have the legal cheating, which is NIL, and then you have the illegal cheating, which is still going on because you have to do the illegal cheating to get the kid onto the campus to give him the legal cheating. It's still dirty as hell. Why do you care if the season gets a little more convoluted?
And yes, I understand you didn't understand that. I'd have to draw you a diagram, but it's fine.
Yes.
But
Why do we care? What we love about the sport is like days like Saturday. There was nothing.
We like that the sport is stupid.
Yes, that you like that the sport's insane.
Yeah.
That's what you like about the sport.
Yeah. In today's ranking, Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati would get buys. Oklahoma State would host BYU. Notre Dame would host Michigan State. Ohio State would host Oregon, again, actually, and then Ole Miss and Baylor. That'd be your first-round games.
And everyone's watching that.
And if it went scratch, Ole Miss would play Georgia. Ohio State would play Michigan again, actually.
And who would not watch that?
Notre Dame would play Alabama, and Oklahoma State would play Cincinnati.
In.
Sure. Yeah.
Locked in.
All good.
And so what if one of the quarterfinals is a blowout? Most of the semifinals are blowouts. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
Take a nap. Have another beer. Watch a movie.
Yeah. Wait on the next game.
Wait on the next game. Because there's a chance the next game's going to be insanity.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm totally for it. But I'm so tired of, you're going to really wreck the purity of the sport. There is no purity in the sport.
If Ole Miss goes to the Peach Bowl, they're likely to play Pittsburgh or Wake Forest. Those 2 teams are ranked 15 and 16 right now, if you're just curious for some reason. Great. Awesome. They both have really good offenses. That's what I got.
We're probably going to talk to the Peach Bowl guy later this week, and I'm going to ask, how does this work?
Yeah. They've tried really hard.
Like, do you Do you argue for teams? Do you fight for teams? Is this a straw poll? I mean, how does this work? And I'm sure I'm going to get nothing but very political answers. But I am going to press, like, how does this work? I mean, I'm going to ask the obvious question, which is you had Ole Miss in your game in September. Does that mean you want them less now, or do you want them more now? Or does it not matter? And my guess is in today's news cycle, September is so long ago.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. When you were writing about Ole Miss or doing whatever you were doing, I mean, obviously I knew, and I said, hey, what happened that day, I would remember. But as far as, like, front of mind, I forgot Lane missed the Louisville game. Just, like, it completely was out of my mind that he did not.
He wasn't there. That was, like, this big story that day.
Well, frankly, we didn't, I mean.
And he bounced back so quickly from COVID. I don't know how.
Didn't read enough is not the right word because, I mean,
Hang
whatever.
in there, LeBron.
But looking back, Lane probably didn't know they were going 10-2, but he did like the team enough that he didn't give two damns that he was not in Atlanta that night. He did not think it had any matter whatsoever on the outcome of that football game.
Talked to people inside the building who said they know they're going to win.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's a zero.
An hour and a half before the game, he was like calling people just kind of cracking up. He was fine.
Earlier that day, he was looking for a place to go swim.
It was, yeah. He was cool. So,
because swimming is how you beat the COVID.
Yes,
because he had it bad. Yeah, Dan Wolken's an idiot. I mean, let's just be real. When the people write these columns about you're ruining the sport, what in the hell does that even mean? Seriously, what does that mean? The sport's changed? You want it to be like it was in the 50s? When I was a kid where you never really knew who the champ was and it didn't really matter because it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's just college football. And what we love about college football is not the crowning of a champion. What we love about college football is a game like Saturday night in Death Valley between a coach who has been fired and a coach who they're trying to hire playing against each other in this really weird game that gets decided weirdly. Nothing's impacted in the whole scheme of life, yet everyone was watching that game, glued to it. And then as soon as it ended, we flipped over to Bedlam to watch a coach who had checked out against a coach who's trying to get to the Big 12 title game for the first time ever. And Stillwater looks like insanity where you want to be there, right? It was so loud.
Yeah.
And it was cool, and you're watching this great quarterback trying to carry Oklahoma on his own. It was a great game. But none of those teams, none of those four teams are national championship teams. But that's what you love about college football is those games. At the end of the day, everybody on Twitter was like, man, what a great day. What a fun day. I mean, Ohio State, Michigan. That's what you love about college football is that game.
You had three in a row in each time slot. You had Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Auburn, and Oklahoma State all went down to the wire or were crazy or whatever you want to call them.
An Auburn team that supposedly had given up the ghost, right? They went to South Carolina and lost. They lost at home to Mississippi State, giving up 42 straight points. They get Alabama in their place and absolutely play them fist to fist. That's what you love about college football. Why can't the Dan Wilkins of the world understand that that's what people love? You want more quality college football, not less. Look, will I turn on the Las Vegas Bowl to watch whoever play whoever? Maybe. I mean, I might put $10 on somebody for the fun of it. But am I watching a playoff game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hell yeah, I'm watching a playoff game. And you can still have the meaningless bowls. You can still have the bowl game in Montgomery between Troy and somebody. You can still play that game. No one cares. It's just football. ESPN's in because they got to show something. I mean, you can only show so many cornhole tournaments. You want games. That allows them to set up their December programming to give their TV host weeks off and stuff like that. That's the whole point of it. I'm sorry. I'm having one of these days.
I'm not worried about the number of games. Jonathan, somebody's asked about what the 12-team playoff. I mean, look, at a professional level, the union would probably not allow the increase to this level, but it sort of is what it is right now. So.
At the end of the day, I mean, how many teams are really playing more games? And if kids, you have NIL, and there's an answer at the high bowl level. It's a player bonus. You make the quarterfinal, each player gets X.
Mm-hmm.
Just add in another Cialis ad somewhere in there. Pay for it.
Yeah. Just for 2 seconds.
Billy's exactly right, by the way.
What's that? Oh.
Billy Quinn's in the text.
Yeah.
This is exactly right. You can tell Billy's an attorney and a really smart guy. Billy's one of those guys when you get in the room with him, you're like, I need to get out of here. This guy's too smart. You know those people like Josh Hendrickson's that guy for me. I'm like, I like you a lot and we're friends, but I don't want to hang out for like more than an hour because I'm going to go cut myself when I get home. Billy writes, it means Wolken's insider sources are within NCAA headquarters, and the NCAA is marching toward irrelevance. And, as a consequence, Wolken is losing the little voice he has. That's exactly right. Thank you. That's why I'm not very smart, and I'm doing this, and he's an attorney. He put that in a quick, concise deal, and I rant for 30 minutes. Of course, if he just did that, and that's all he did for a podcast, Billy would not be a good podcaster because his podcast wouldn't last long enough for him to have, like, ads and stuff in it.
Brevity is not necessarily a positive when it comes to podcasts.
Yeah, he would just have this short, little, very concise deal, and everybody would go, that's really brilliant. Now what am I going to do with the rest of my day?
I have a 48-minute run. What am I doing? I mean, I'm caught up, but...
yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah. But now what? So maybe we all have a purpose.
We all have a purpose. That's the hat.
I want Billy defending me in court more than I want me defending me in court.
Yes.
He's a little calmer.
And again, just reiterating for anybody who's been under a rock, Alabama doing this that we're discussing would send Ole Miss to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the cause and effect.
And so if you're cheering from an Ole Miss perspective, you're hoping Alabama wins. And if Alabama wins, that's 11-1, and you're the SEC champ, and you belong in the playoff.
Yeah, they're in.
My point is if you don't, you don't. And you could have solved all this with a 12-team playoff that everybody would watch.
Somebody pointed out Oklahoma State, I mean, they've played incredibly well like the last 5 weeks, but they've had a weird year. I mean, you look at some of their early games that they're even in this situation. They beat Missouri State 23-16 opening weekend. They beat Tulsa 28-23. And they
beat talking about Oak State?
Oak State. And they beat Boise 21-20. The first 3 weeks of the season, that was their schedule, as they played those three non-cons. They played okay and beat Kansas State. They got the big one over Baylor, kind of before we realized Baylor was pretty damn good, though, at that moment.
Yeah, sure.
They kind of messed with Texas, but won 32-24. Weird game in Austin before Texas completely fell off the thing. And then they lost. They lose at Iowa State, which no shame in that. But they lose at Iowa State. But then since then, they haven't played a tough schedule. But 55-3, 24-3, 63-17, 23-0, and 37-33 over Oklahoma. Pretty good 5-week run there.
They're really good
for the Cowboys.
They're really good.
Defensively, they're damn good.
They've gotten better and better and better. Yeah.
I mean, they've allowed...
Here's the thing. They passed the fun test. Are they fun to watch? Yes.
Saturday was the only time they've allowed more than 24 points this season.
Yeah, I would wear, as an attorney, I would wear a leg brace the whole time.
The football leg brace.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd go borrow somebody's leg brace.
Yes. Like your stepson. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio, your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone services available, parental controls, network security, wireless mesh extender you probably don't even need, and much more. So call the office, get the best internet around. Again, that's 662-238-3159.
Mark makes a really good point. The Oklahoma State kids did recover from Gundy wearing that OAN shirt.
They did.
They kind of got past it, didn't they?
We've moved on.
We're also, oh my God, we're also brought to you by ACS, Automation and Control Systems, LLC. My buddy Clay McNutt runs that in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. ACS has a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. If you're in need of HMI and SCADA solutions, our large horsepower VFD specialist, ACS has you covered. They can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, and many other manufacturers. It's ACSLLCMS.com or 662-601-4381. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate's based out of Jackson. They service the entire state in all commercial asset classes, such as retail, office, industrial, and land. This week's property spotlight is on Paragon Center in Ridgeland. It's comprised of 150,000 square feet of Class A office space located on Highland Colony Parkway, minutes from the new Costco, Walk-On Sports Bistro, and I-55. This section of Highland Colony is experiencing substantial commercial growth. It's located alongside some of the most affluent neighborhoods in Mississippi. If you want to learn more, get in touch with Sam Cox, BB Mitchell. It's 601-586-3220. Christmas is now just days away. We're into December. This is December. It's officially time to start planning for holiday gifting, and our friends at Blue Delta have the perfect gift for the season. Blue Delta has introduced their video gift cards, a gift card with a built-in video screen. It's easy. Simply head to BlueDeltaJeans.com, purchase a gift card, and Blue Delta will help you record a personalized message and upload the video card for you. Supply chains probably will be a problem this Christmas, but these video gift cards are a surefire way to make sure your gifts get delivered. The guys at Blue Delta sent me one of them. It's a great concept, great presentation. It's the perfect gift for a single person or a group of employees. That's BlueDeltaJeans.com to purchase, or shoot the guys a direct message on social media, and they'll get you taken care of. Also brought to you by Lamons. Lamons is located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. They've been serving the Oxford area for 73-plus years. From engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more, Lamons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lamonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. And we'll have hand-raised guys tomorrow night. That's brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or that area, call 662-429-4429 for the people at Southern. And we're brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop with 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Podcast brought to you by G&M Pharmacy. That's there on South Lamar and Oxford. Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync. For your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivered, and you have everything you need with your local community pharmacy. So, again, that's G&M there on South Lamar. Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs. Again, 662-236-2222. So, what in the hell did Brian Kelly have on his feet yesterday? Those shoes.
Were they orthopedic shoes? Had to be, right?
Well, they were platform shoes first. I mean, I was looking up on the internet. He appears to be somewhere between 5'7" and 5'9". So
he's trying to compensate for his height.
And I mean, because he was a thick sole.
Oh yeah.
They were god awful ugly.
They were bad.
You don't, even if they're orthopedic shoes, you don't wear them on the day you're introduced, right?
Okay, so
is it weird that I almost feel like this is one of those things where I go, okay, maybe he's not going to make it.
This is a weird topic for me because I have bad feet.
Okay.
So a lot of the really nice dress shoes that men love to wear and that I love personally, if I wear them for more than a couple of hours, the pain's intense because my feet are so bad. So I have to be kind of careful with shoes.
If you're a multimillionaire, you can't find some custom insoles that fix that problem beyond wearing.
Well, if I'm a multimillionaire, I'm probably going and having those shoes specifically made just for me.
Sure.
I'm buying a $5,000 pair of black dress shoes.
Yeah, sure.
I think he thought those were fashionable shoes.
Do you really?
I do. You know, that's the new thing right now, and I generally like them. The dress shoe that has kind of the white, like Cole Haan makes one. Carson has it. Because Carson doesn't like wearing his dress shoes ever. And so we had to kind of, Kermit wears them. I notice shoes. I watch shoes.
Yeah, sure.
They have the white sole.
Okay.
And it makes it a little more casual.
Okay.
So if you're not wearing a tie, for example, you're just wearing a sport coat.
Yeah, sure.
You can pull it off a little better. But that was you're introduced, you're wearing a suit, right? You're wearing a suit the day you're introduced.
Yes.
You got to put on the dress of your shoes. And if you make the kind of money he makes, you could just go get those shoes made for you. You really could.
Yes. Yeah, they're awful. Brian Kelly, and he played at Assumption. It's a club, I don't know. Grand Valley State, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, LSU. Brian Kelly, yes or no, has he ever had gumbo?
Yeah, he's had gumbo. Has he
on
ever had
recruiting trips?
Probably.
When he goes to Louisiana.
Do I think he's ever gone into a restaurant and said, "I'll have a cup of gumbo before I have my"? No, probably not. Do I think he's ever ordered etouffee or Creole? No, I don't.
No.
Jambalaya, I don't. No. And all of that sounds so good right now.
It really does. It's kind of cold. Like, yeah, it's got a little bit of it. It's not even about him being on the field. Just culturally, it's going to be interesting to watch him fit. I'm not even talking about the job he does, because I think he'll win football games. But just culturally, it will be an interesting fit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, Paul Maneri came down there from Notre Dame and did great.
Kind of became a Louisianan pretty quick. Yeah.
Jury's out. He's a really good coach. It's a really good hire.
Oh yeah, good hire. I'm not going to criticize the hire.
I do wonder, like, the first time he has to go to a crawfish boil.
Just how it.
Avery brought that up. It's a great point. Like, does he?
I guarantee he doesn't know how to peel crawfish.
Yeah.
No, come on.
Someone will have to show him. And if he's smart, he'll just play into that. Hey, I don't know what I'm
doing. I mean, one of the most uncomfortable days of my life. Now, I mean, I'm not comparing the two. One of the most uncomfortable days of my life was watching someone from up north try to peel a shrimp one afternoon.
Really? A shrimp? They didn't know how to do it?
The guy your dog hated.
That doesn't count.
The very first day.
That doesn't count.
The very first day he came down.
I'm going to defend Northerners here. That is not fair. That is not fair. No, that is not fair. That's like if you said every Californian is Charles Manson.
Well, I didn't say that. I just said I have an experience.
I met Scott Peterson once, and all Californians are.
Came down and went to snack bar trying to kill some time, show the area or whatever, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether to offer to help or you just watch. Or
what did you do? Did you just suffer?
I just
pain?
stared. I was so uncomfortable. It just pieces, like literally just tearing into.
Didn't know how to just peel it.
I mean, I guess if you've never been around one, I don't know.
What is your stance on shrimp?
Oh, I'm all in.
Are you a shrimp boil person?
Yeah, very pro shrimp.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had this conversation. I'm better off with shrimp than crawfish because it's more food for less work. I would rather have a shrimp boil than a crawfish boil.
Yes. The only way.
Beat me up all you want to.
No, I'm completely fine with you. I'm only in on a crawfish boil if it's done exactly right. Like, you've got to purge the crawfish. You have to purge them.
Yeah.
If I'm opening up a crawfish and I'm getting that crawfish one after the other, I'm out. I'm not interested. It's gross, and I don't want it. And I'm a Louisiana guy, so shoot me.
I do love some crab legs.
Yeah.
I get their work, too.
Yeah, their work, but they're good.
Yeah.
It's a different deal. There's a lot of people, they drive me crazy. There's a lot of people like, oh, I love crawfish, and then you watch them, and they don't really love crawfish.
You think it's like a societal thing to say you like crawfish?
There's no doubt about it.
Do you really?
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to a crawfish boil. I got to pretend that I really love this. A lot of times you go to a crawfish boil and the crawfish are not good. They're not good.
People end up eating the sausage and the potatoes and the corn.
Of course. There's a reason that you're putting all that stuff in there. It's because the crawfish is not very good. Now, you go down to a Acadiana or something where they know what the hell they're doing.
That's a whole different.
Totally different deal.
Yeah, that's a.
There's a place in Monroe called Cormier's that their crawfish was fantastic. But again, they know what they're doing and do it for a living and the whole shooting match.
Why do you think? Because look, he was playing LSU fan this morning. He's not right. T. Bob Bears, who I'm referring to.
Okay.
he had a tweet this morning about, Lincoln Riley, because Brian Kelly wouldn't take 9.5 if Lincoln Riley was offered 14. And I get that to a point. Why do you think the money was so wrong on people reporting numbers on a couple of these things at LSU?
Because there was so much talk last week about just what LSU was prepared to offer. And listen, before anybody does this thing about Lincoln Riley wasn't going to happen, LSU on Saturday was contracting with a catering company and a digital sign company for a Monday press conference / welcoming party, and all of the signage was about Lincoln Riley. That deal was done in LSU's mind. So before anybody goes, oh, the media, but y'all missed that. Nope. It was all Lincoln Riley until Saturday night. LSU spent Sunday panicking, and then he went and did his job. He was going to turn to Mark Stoops, and the people there told him it won't work. Can't do it. Brian Kelly was interested, and they knew it, and they pulled the trigger. The Brian Kelly thing happened fast.
Not exactly crawfish capital, but Maneri did have 5 years in Miami at one point in his life. So
he did.
He had a little more.
And look, you've met Paul.
Yeah.
I've met Paul. Paul Maneri is one of those guys that if he came over to your Christmas party, but now baseball coaches are a different deal.
Yeah.
Like when you hang out with the collection of baseball coaches, you don't walk out of there going, these guys are psychopaths. If you hang out with the collection of basketball coaches, you go, man, these guys would be fun to party with.
Sure. Yeah.
Basketball coaches are kind of eccentric, different. You hang out with a collection of football coaches, and at the end of it, you can't shower fast enough. And I've talked to football coaches about this, and I work in a field where I hate 94% of the people. We're worse. We're just total losers as a collection. So I feel like I can say this. It's kind of like when someone says, "I'm going to make fun of your hometown." I'm like, "That's fine. I know where I'm from. It's all good."
Couple things. This has no news value at the moment, but Manny Diaz's buyout went way down overnight.
Approximately $2 million.
So we'll see what happens with Miami as far as AD and coach over the next 72 hours, probably.
You're trying to ruin the mood here real quick.
No, but I'm trying to forget it and then whatever. And then just
So here's what we're watching for on Miami. It's the one job that I've kept an eye on. It's the one job that I continue to keep an eye on just because I think it's my job. Yeah, Grind, I like Juwan Howard too. Really, Juwan Howard would be a fun guy to go hang out with. So that's the best example. I'll get back to Miami in a second. If you hung out with Harbaugh for 30 minutes, you'd think this guy's there's no telling how many people.
Drink milk with a steak.
There's no telling how many people he's hurt. If you hung out with Juwan Howard after a while, you'd be like, man, did an hour pass that quick? Miami, I believe that Miami would I think they're going to hire an AD. I think I know who the AD is. It's Nunez is his name.
New Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. I think its last name is Nunez. I think they're going to hire him sometime between Friday and Sunday. I think if it's up to Miami, they're going to dismiss Manny Diaz late this week. The later, the better, because the later that they dismiss him, the less heat there is on Mario Cristobal. It's my pretty damned educated opinion that if Miami moves on from Manny Diaz, it's because they believe they have a deal in place with Mario Cristobal. Believes that they've given him a yes. Here's the wrinkle or the fly in the ointment or whatever, is that Oregon is on to this, according to multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon knows that Miami's potentially coming, and Phil Knight, who you might know is the head guy at Nike and a giant Oregon booster, it is believed that they are putting a package together that is going to be very, very difficult for him to say no to, him being Mario Cristobal. And so what is not known is if Miami discovers that they can't get Cristobal, do they just tread water for another year, or do they make a move? And if they make a move, is the second guy on their list Lane Kiffin?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's Lane Kiffin, is there an offer they could put on the table that would get Lane Kiffin?
Right.
Those are the question marks. So if you're the guy that goes, You're the Ole Miss fan that goes, we're completely out of the water. All is out of trouble. All is good. That's too much. You have to keep an eye on it. If you're the Ole Miss person who's panicked over this, I would say that this is not the time to panic. A lot has to happen.
That's fair. I think that's more.
Did I do that okay?
Yeah, I think you're good there as far as that goes. Yes, milk with steak here for anybody in the stream.
I just don't know how that works. How do you eat steak and then drink milk?
Well, now you're asking questions that I don't have the answer to. But I have a photo if it would let me do it.
I don't know, man. I don't even know that I want to see it.
You're good?
That cat's weird. But then he takes all of his bonus money and he gives it back to Michigan employees who were affected by COVID-related layoffs. And you're like, hey, what a good dude. Everybody kind of says he's a good guy. He's just weird.
Yeah, there it is, the Twitter picture for anybody who would like it in the stream.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there available for you to gag.
Did he have ketchup on it too?
I know. I want to say he goes no sauce or anything, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I feel like I've seen something to do with that over the course of time. Just quickly tell you the podcast brought to you in part by Johnston Hill Creamery, johnstonhillcreamery.com. You can call them, see all the different options they have for you. Again, all the local cheese made here in Oxford, all of it made with Brown Dairy Farm milk. Plenty of different opportunities. 662-419-9201. That's cheese at johnstonhillcreamery.com to send them an email. Right there off Molly Bar in Oxford on White Oak Lane. They've got a cool artisanal cheese box for the holiday season. They've got a great charcuterie plate as well available for the holiday season. A lot of holiday stuff. Go to their Facebook page. You can search it easily, johnstonhillcreamery.com. See what all you can pre-order. See what's available there for you, the accompaniments, all the different condiments and different things that they offer, as well as, again, the local wonderful made cheese. So, again, 662-419-9201.
My buddy Martin Palomo and I will tape a Mind on My Money tomorrow. That's brought to you by Pinnacle. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. They provide financial service, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. Again, mypinwealth.com. We've been talking about travel. If you're thinking about travel, you should, because there's a lot of great deals out there to be had. You just got to be aware of all the different COVID stuff, closures, and where you have to, what's the word when you have to, not hibernate, but Quarantine, thank you. Dude, there's so much medicine. Yeah. It's everywhere. John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll give you a ton of options, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387. Send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. If you come to town this weekend, make sure you check out OPA, 306 South Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. It's the newest restaurant on the square. Delicious menu featuring gyros, wraps, kebabs, fresh redfish, lamb chops, and more. Awesome bar, candlelit patio, and more there at OPA. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, that's the place to go. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. My mailbag is up at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by my friend Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. Whitney's serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. And if you want to get in touch with her, you can. 662-567-2573. Or you can call her office at 662-842-3844. We'll have picks up tomorrow so you guys can know who to fade. It's brought to you by Service Specialists with offices in Ridgeland, Canton, Jackson, and Oxford. Service Specialists has been connecting candidates and employers since 1967 as the oldest staffing company in Mississippi. Whether you're a new college grad or a seasoned professional, whether you're in engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, whatever, contact Service Specialists. If you're a recent grad without much experience, it's okay. Contact them. They're always looking for candidates that have potential and want to learn and get their foot in the door with growth opportunities. Mississippi's a small state. They always know about jobs that never get advertised. They also always know about prospective employees that don't want their resumes public. So if you're a prospective employer, well, you know the rest. Get in touch with them. 662-832 5138 or go to servicespecialistltd.com. And we're brought to you by Alpha Specialties. Alpha Specialties is your premier trailer dealership in Mississippi, 1670 Highway 80 in Parham, Mississippi. They've got all sorts of trailers. They also have spare tires and wheels starting at just $100, a full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They do all sorts of truck accessories as well. It's alphaofms.com or 601-932-9798. And don't forget, while you're out doing your Christmas shopping today or online, go to therogue.com. Make sure you check out the collegiate collection. Got some really great-looking Ole Miss stuff. If you have a Mississippi State fan in your life, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, whatever the case may be, you can get a lot of that taken care of at the Rogue. They also have a great selection of fine men's clothing. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com.
The other one last thing on Notre Dame is the committee also said, this is what was so stupid, that they will have the ability to factor in Brian Kelly's absence to how they view the team, but they don't do it until the very last ranking. So
stop.
So just contemplate that one.
Just stop. That's just go to 12 teams. Do it tomorrow. How cool would that be if they just announced, you know what, we're going to 12 teams starting this year.
Yeah, just
party.
What
a day Monday would be, huh? What a cool day that would be. That'd be awesome. Mark.
What?
Mark Angelo, and I like Mark a lot. Spaghetti and milk is fantastic. Is what?
I don't drink really milk anyway.
No, not my thing.
Yeah. I don't know the last time I've had actual dairy milk. Like we drink almond milk.
See, I hate that stuff.
So I don't like. I couldn't tell you the last time I had like 2% milk.
The only way I'll drink it is skim, just a little bit.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of thrown off by the spaghetti thing. Now, you mentioned this. Look, SEC basketball coaches. I only flagged 2 as far as guys I absolutely would want to spend no time with.
Okay.
And for different reasons.
Okay.
Will Wade just gets on my damn nerves.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, I have no interest in Tom Crean whatsoever. He seems like a smarmy little whatever, and I have no.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I can find something. Nate Oates, Eric Musselman.
Oh, sure.
Bruce Pearl.
Absolutely. Oh, Bruce
Mike White.
I want to hang out with Bruce.
Yeah. Mike White.
Mike White's a great dude.
Calipari.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Howland, and he might fall on the list, but okay.
He's Ben Howland's smart, though. It's kind of interesting.
Kunzo.
Yeah,
Kermit, Frank.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Barnes, Buzz, and Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
I can figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Put me in a group of those dudes.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
12 of the 14, I go, okay.
Oh, yeah, it'd be fine.
At least 11 and a half.
Like, if you told me I'm sitting at that table, I'm like, I don't really care who I sit by. I'm good. Like, Kermit's a great guy. I mean, fantastic guy.
And
like,
whereas
you hang out with Kermit, you never walk away going, that guy's a serial killer in his other life. And I've hung out with some football coaches where I'm like, I don't know where they buried the bodies, but it's somewhere.
I will say this group of SEC football coaches is more palatable than some of the collectives.
Okay.
No, seriously, because like
I'm trying to think.
I think Mark Stoops is a decent dude.
Yeah, he'd be a fun guy to go.
I think Shane Beamer's a decent dude.
I agree.
Like they're like okay, like it's not a ton of just dude. But now, like I have no interest in Kirby Smart whatsoever.
No,
none.
You wouldn't want to hang out with Saban.
No, and Jimbo freaks me out. I'm kind of an anti-Jimbo guy.
You and Jay Tate both.
Oh, and Jay's like that too?
Jimbo was always nice to me, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I will say I give SEC Network credit. The commercial where he's in the car with Marty Smith and them is pretty funny when they switch the channel. I will say Jimbo plays that pretty good.
What do you think Drinkwitz is like in real life?
I think he's fine, and like no offense, Ginger or anybody else on the street. I have a feeling he's only going to want to talk about like Marvel comic book movies with me. Like I have a hunch like it's a very, very finite level of what he actually wants to talk about. He just comes off so damn dorky. He's a good, he's a good football coach, but
he's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So if you could hang out with 3 SEC football coaches at dinner, who would you pick?
Dinner. Just to make sure I get this right.
You got dinner with 3 SEC football coaches. Who do you want at your table?
Okay. And see, this is the point, because I'd much rather have
One of your favorite sit-down dinners is going to last 3 or 4 hours. You're there for a while.
it's one of those.
Cocktails, appetizers, meal, dessert, coffee, the whole shooting match.
The whole shooting match.
Run down the list. I'll tell you whether they even make the semifinals.
I don't know why suddenly it's kind of hard on the internet to find a list of SEC head football coaches.
Right, because it's changed so damn much.
Well, like seriously, like when you get it, like it's like tons of weird things. They're just literally just giving me a freaking list, like without ads or something where I've got to like click through everything.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is. God, everything has ads now. Like these click list things where you can't just pull up a freaking thing.
You know, we just did a podcast with a whole bunch of ads.
Yeah, and nobody had to stop or do anything at all. Not
true.
whatsoever.
It's
they were
true.
able
It's
to
good.
just,
It's a good point.
like, it's so stupid. Just give me a freaking list. Here we go. Okay.
You okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
All right.
I don't know why I'm whatever.
Okay.
You know, here's what's bad about this is I gave all that, and now when I look at the list, I go,
All right, go ahead. Find me some names.
Saban,
No.
Smart,
No.
Jimbo,
No, probably not.
Ed,
Hell no. And now
Hey.
Brian Kelly's still a no.
yeah, Dan,
No, and who's Napier?
Napier.
Probably not.
Stoops.
Okay, he's
He might be on the list.
He's on my semifinal list. I'm putting him in my pool to possibly come to dinner.
Eli,
I don't think so.
Pittman.
Yeah.
He's got to be in the group.
Yeah, he probably
he's
fun. Probably fun at dinner.
Okay, here's the catch. And again, because I know everybody's yelling and yelling because I get the persona. Lane Kiffin's next. Lane has to really like the other people at the table.
Yeah.
Lane is only there if he's really cool with everybody else.
Because if Lane feels like one of them's a stranger, it's
he's
out. He's
Yeah.
out.
So he has to be really.
So I'm going to do the unpopular thing here and say no.
I don't want to listen to Mike Leach for 2 minutes. I have no interest in Mike Leach.
No, it would get old.
Beamer, Heupel, Clarkley.
Okay, Beamer is a yes.
Yeah.
Heupel, I don't know enough about to say. And I met Clark Lee once, and he seemed like a really genuine guy, which is why he's probably 2-10. So I'm Stoops.
You're Stoops, Beamer.
I'm Stoops, Pittman, and Beamer, I think. I rest my case. See, this is easy. I mean, y'all all think I'm insane, and then you start running it out, and you're like, oh, he's kind of right. God, he's right. And see, in basketball, it's a harder cut. All right, run me the basketball names, and I'll tell you who would I want at dinner.
All right. Yeah. All right, here we go. Nate Oates.
Yes.
Well, you
Smart.
gotta pick 3.
Okay, but he's in my but I'm putting him in my pool.
Musselman.
Yes, for sure.
He's too weird for me, but I have no problem with him.
Yeah, but I'm putting him in my pool of people that I would be interested because he has a lot of interesting stories.
Bruce is in.
Bruce is at
He's
the
sitting
dinner.
to my right.
Bruce is sitting at dinner next to me.
Yes. Mike White. Got no problems.
I
having
got
dinner
no
with
problems with
White.
Mike.
Yeah.
Mike's a good guy.
Crean's a no.
Crean's out for sure.
Cal would be a yes. I like Cal. I like him more than you do.
Okay,
Probably.
fair enough.
I like
he
Cal.
probably would not make my dinner.
Will Wade's a no.
No,
I have
God,
no
no.
interest.
God,
He would
no.
like berate the waitress.
We would just talk about Will a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
For
that's
sure.
true. Howland, no.
No.
Kunzo,
Maybe,
maybe.
but probably not.
Yeah. Kermit's a good hang, no problem.
I got no problem with Kermit at all.
Frank Martin's a yes.
Oh, Frank's in.
Yeah. Bruce and Kermit.
Bruce
Bruce
is
and
right
Frank
here.
are two,
Frank's
yeah.
right here, and now we're picking the one other spot.
Yeah. Barnes, Buzz, and Stackhouse.
No, no, and no.
Yeah.
So it's those 3 guys, and then either Kermit, Mike, or Nate Oates. I probably just eliminated Musselman because he might be just weird enough to make it weird.
Okay. Because, see, you got to remember, you got Bruce and Frank, so you need a little bit of.
Although here's what you hear about Musselman is from people up there is that he is incredibly good in social settings.
Oh, really?
Incredibly good. Can go from one group to a different kind of group and do it seamlessly. Great with the college kids. Very personable.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's a little weird, but maybe in a good way. Hell of a recruiter, obviously. These teams are good.
I don't see Beamer being a candidate for the OU job, Grind. I just don't.
Boy, if you're Beamer, though, and they offer OU, you got to take it, don't you? But Beamer coveted that South Carolina job. Really wanted the job, and they love him. They're going to give him so much time.
Yeah, see, that's a good point. If we're doing like 5 years ago, the list would have been easy before we started because it's AK instead of that third spot. So it's AK, Frank, and Bruce. And that's
just sit back and don't say a word.
Yeah.
You just every once in a while go, yeah, fill me up.
Becomes a reality show at that point.
Oh.
It's just
Is that wine? I don't care what kind of wine. Just put it in.
When she comes around and go, hey, here's the bottle. No, just pour it.
Just
That's
pour.
Fine.
Just leave the bottle.
We'll tell you if it's not okay. That's a good point.
Yeah, you get AK about 3 glasses in and just go.
You had about 8.
The floor is yours.
You had 8 to 10 possible basketballs, and we had a hard time finding the third football coach.
I know. I know what I'm saying here. I've done this for a while.
I think Hugh knew the lane license plate thing when he did that yesterday.
Yes.
You do? For anybody under a rock, Hugh tweeted an out-of-focus Harrison County license plate yesterday. Somebody did say he was imitating Kiffin, and Freeze, to his, I guess, credit, call it whatever you want to call it, replied and said they were not recruiting the same big game. He did back off at that point.
Sure. Whatever.
Big game hunting. Liberty and Harrison County.
Needs to stay there forever.
In Liberty? At Liberty?
When he signed the new deal and the kids greeted him when he came in, I thought, you see, I almost tweeted, you need to stay there forever. It's perfect.
Good spot.
It's a great spot.
You can run CUSA.
Oh, he'll do great. Because he's a good coach.
Yeah,
he's a good coach.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Corey asked a good question. I had this in the mailbag, and I didn't really know how to answer it. The Hugh Freeze thing is over, right, as far as media infatuation? Is everyone done now?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you get rid of Malik Willis, been at Liberty longer, you go 8-4, 7-5, whatever they went. I mean, I think it's I think
I mean, we're done, right? That's good. We're finished with that?
I think so. I tell you, and I get that it was just a snippet, and he's done a good job at State. I'm not really bashing his coaching thing at all. Did you listen to that Mike Leach answer last night about tripping?
No.
He was he almost fell going up the steps. And one of the reporters, credit to him because, there's nothing else to really talk about, was like, hey, you're all right. I saw you kind of whatever. And he gives this long-winded answer about how he persevered and didn't fall because he's surrounded by great people and great players and they've rubbed off on him, and that's why he didn't fall down the steps. Except every third word, he's going, he cannot get through the sentences.
If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I want him, let me get this all the way out where people don't misunderstand. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I do not want Mississippi State to suck. I want him to stay there for a long time because they have a very low ceiling with him. I do not want them to capture the floor. If I'm an Ole Miss fan and I'm saying, okay, Mississippi State, make me the football gods come down and go, hey, Ole Miss fan, what do you want Mississippi State's record to be? 7-5. 7-5.
For perpetuity.
Forever.
Yeah.
They may never fire him. And 7-5 is not beating me much if I'm on top of my game.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm losing to 6-5 Mississippi State teams, I've got something wrong in my house. Understand that?
Yeah.
So, but if they're 7-5, that means they beat us some. Well, not if you're doing right. Yeah, sure, once, twice every 10 years, sure, of course. But if you're taking care of business and you're running a strong program and they're a 6-6, 7-5 program, you're beating them 4 out of every 5 times, if not more. I don't want them to tank to where they go, okay, this doesn't work. Let's go figure this out. Mm-hmm. And then they stumble on the right guy.
I guess my point was I listened to him and I went, I don't think that plays in living rooms. I went,
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Just he seemed, and now I tell you what he does do is I do feel like he's having, and now this is just Mike Leach. I mean, anybody can go have a drink with Mike, and he's laid back, and he's all Key West and all that stuff.
He's a smart guy, sure.
You saw there's a thread on the board about a guy that had a couple drinks with him last night after the Connerly Trophy. He hung out for a couple hours and whatever. That's something you do when you're 7-5, and that's also something you do when you're the head coach at Mississippi State. Yeah. There's more of a we're doing the thing, and right now look. I don't think Lane needs to go hang out at the country club at Jackson for 3 hours and have drinks. But being invested in your community is a portion of the gig, but Leach and State have to take it to another level for whatever reason.
I've talked to Mike Leach a couple of times. I've always been struck by he's a nice guy.
But he's not a bad dude at all.
He's eccentric a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, we just got through talking about basketball coaches. Most of those guys are nuts. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's fine. I like Mike. Mm-hmm. Nothing bad to say about Mike Leach. I just think he has a ceiling. And if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I want him to stay there for a while.
Yeah.
He's going to do the thing about candy and stuff, and everybody's going to go, oh, my God, how incredible. Okay, cool. What I don't want, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm like, whew, thank God Billy Napier didn't end up there. Because he might have run that thing efficiently and made your life miserable.
Yeah. Look, Mike Leach is high floor, low ceiling. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's high floor,
and
low
they're
ceiling.
going to get you sometime. But this league, nobody's dominating anybody in this league anymore, in my opinion, with NIL and transfer portal. And this is a tough league. I mean, look around this league. I mean, just take 13 of the 14 teams are bowl eligible.
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, nobody just sucks other than Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. That's it. I mean, people go, Missouri sucks. No, they don't. If you watch them, they don't suck. Okay. Got flaws.
But they're fine.
They're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about Arkansas a minute ago. That team went 8-4. Had a ball in the air from 9-3. Had a call go funny against them. Don't get me wrong, Auburn outplayed them that day. But you change a call earlier that game, and they get a touchdown there, and that's a different game.
Yeah, the margin of error is so small.
Tennessee went 7-5, had a chance to beat Ole Miss, had a chance to win some other games. I mean, Kentucky went 9-3, could have easily beaten Tennessee to go 10-2. This league's a booger bear, and getting harder by the day.
All right, plenty of recruiting up at rebelgrove.com. We'll have more throughout the day. Should be a pretty busy week, leading to some official visitors this weekend and more. Ole Miss basketball beats Rider last night. They play Memphis at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Should be a big game. It's a big opportunity for Ole Miss to kind of regain some momentum that they've lost with early season losses.
Yeah, so that's going on and plenty more. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you.